In this week's episode of The Range, I'm joined by Cordie Walker, a creator, strategist, and one of the most thoughtful voices in golf media today. Cordie's journey has taken him from passionate golfer to the founder of Golf Science Lab and now to the launch of GolfWell, a platform designed to explore the mental game, training mindset, and the community behind improvement. We dive into Cordie's evolution as a content creator, from early days working in video production to shaping one of the most respected golf instruction platforms on the internet. Cordie sees golf not just as a game, but as a medium for growth, both personal and professional. We talk about what it really takes to improve, the challenges of staying curious, and why community is the true differentiator in a world overflowing with content. If you're someone who geeks out on the mental side of the game, loves thoughtful content, or is looking to build something meaningful in the golf space, this conversation's for you. Let's jump. Welcome to The Range, the podcast where we explore the intersection of passion and business in the world of golf. I'm your host, Ari Ratner, and each episode will dive into the stories of the innovators, entrepreneurs, and trailblazers who are transforming the game we love into thriving businesses. Whether you're a golf enthusiast, an inspiring entrepreneur, or just curious about the business behind the sport, you're in the right place. So grab your clubs and join us on The Range as we tee off into the world of golf entrepreneurship. Welcome back to The Range. We are joined by Cordie Walker, founder of GolfWell, formerly Golf Science Lab. And he and the team have a mission to help 1 million golfers transform their game. And I happen to be one that needs transformation. So super excited to have you on, Cordie, and appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we jump into the business, would love to give the audience a sense of your connection to the sport, how long you've been playing, and just your love of the game.
Yeah, I guess kind of playing forever would be the answer. Started as a kid, just kind of played junior golf all the way through, played high school golf and kind of competitive golf as a junior, and didn't play in college just because I don't know, I did college really fast and started working right away. And but excited to play more now. I have a 7-year-old who's all about it. And so been finding myself at the golf course way more this summer because he's having a blast doing PGA Junior League and all that stuff. So,
it's a good excuse.
It's fantastic to be out there.
Did that happen? Did your father play? Did you grow up playing because people in your family played? How did that work?
Yeah, they started, I think my parents started learning when I was young. I don't think they played growing up. They just decided to pick it up. And so it's kind of a bit random, I think, to be honest. They just started playing and then I started playing and then I guess I'm a golfer.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. So let's talk about, I know it's GolfWell today, but let's talk about Golf Science Lab, the creation of that, how you got it going, why you got it going, and then we could transition into today's business.
Yeah. I'll give a real kind of brief summary. It goes back to right out of college. I started a software company and it was going to be scheduling and student management for golf instructors. And I was actually really pumped about what we built. We built something really cool. I ran out of money and I could not keep it going. But I'd gotten to know all these golf instructors and they were just, it was really fun to hang out with them. And I'd started a podcast just to try to learn from people and share stuff. And this was 2013, 14.
Okay.
So it was a while ago. So I got to know kind of the golf instruction community and it was super fun. And from there, I just, even though the software stopped, I didn't keep going with that. Just kept it going because I wanted to make stuff and I enjoyed helping people. And so eventually, I think come 2015, 2016, I wanted to do something a little bit different than just business of golf instruction. And so we started Golf Science Lab because there was interesting research going on. I was starting to learn from some of these people. And so, started making series of podcasts about different topics and the research around it. So I think the first one was motor learning, and then we did the golf swing and technology, and it just, some experts in the field were super generous to share this. And so, started making those series of podcasts, had a blast with it, and grew from there. We did, I think, probably 3 or 4 virtual summits where we had experts in the field come on, and we had, I think, a couple hundred at least people join for those. And it was really fun to bring that to light. We did a few series of those, and it was an absolute blast kind of doing that. Went to a World Scientific Congress of Golf in St. Andrews in 2016 and kind of really, really enjoyed learning and just kind of diving into everything.
Was there a moment where it went from, putting out a few podcasts to really growing that community? And was there a hockey stick curve where either the audience grew or the interest from the instructors grew? Was there a moment in time where you could look back and say, this is when things started to ramp up?
There wasn't one specific moment. It was just kind of all gradually grew over time. Gosh, it was back when there wasn't that much going on, 2016 kind of era. And so it was just like, there's no one talking about research and stuff. And I was having a great time talking about it. And there were some people who were like trying to find these specific things, I think. Yeah. And so just started to build an audience. I wish there was, some kind of magic thing to it. But yeah, podcasts were really hard. You had to like get people to it. There was no organic growth or anything like that. It was just kind of like, how are we going to get people here? And so gradually it just kind of grew over time.
And it's funny because it seemed, 10 years in the grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a long time. But when you look at the kind of media industry 10 years ago, you look at the golf community 10 years ago, is very different than it is today. Talk about how you've grown with the industry as it's changed, both from a media perspective as well as a sport and golf perspective.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like now all this stuff is mainstream, where like before it was super not mainstream. So it was interesting to be there kind of early because it just felt like, is this all pointless? Like nobody really cares. And it was good. How have I grown through it? I don't know. I just wish that I probably would have doubled down more and would have done more of it. I was doing other things at the time, distracted. I just kind of like to keep doing things. So I've got other businesses and stuff going. And so I didn't like focus on it probably as much as I could have at the time, and maybe could be in a different spot at this point. But what has grown? I guess the one thing that I've learned about myself is just like always like making stuff. And I love like learning and asking people questions. So like I never want to stop doing that. And I always will do that along the way.
Has the way that you reach out to guests and has that changed at all, or is it similar to how you did it when you first started?
Like building relationships in the
just because you've built GolfWell and Golf Science Lab before that into something. So I assume those conversations are a little easier than when you first started.
Kind of. I don't know. It was just like, I love this stuff. And so I've been lucky enough to just like meet people and like hang out, whether it's in person or virtually. And so like just kind of slowly building relationships among this instruction space. And so that's been like, because none of what I do is, me. I'm just like a normal person that likes learning stuff. So, and sharing that. And so it's always just been that kind of like concept, just going out there and chatting with people, seeing and learning.
Talk a little bit about the transition, even just from a naming perspective, from Golf Science Lab to GolfWell.
Yeah. So I probably took a couple years off from doing anything right around COVID. Probably could have stopped. Weren't doing any travel, was focused on some other projects at the time and just completely unrelated businesses. And so it was just kind of like easy to just kind of let it go. Yep. I was fine with it and it was okay. But then I just, kind of missed doing it. And so got back into it probably about 18 months ago or so, 2 years ago now. And we just focused on video because that's my strength. We have a video marketing agency here. And so I've got a great team and able to do this kind of stuff. And so we just leaned back in and just have had an absolute blast making some really cool stuff and trying to find interesting stories, do interesting things, and learn about YouTube and learn about all this kind of different things from a content perspective back when it was just, doing podcasts. And obviously platforms have changed continually over the last 10 years. So always trying to pivot with that and kind of make stuff that people like consuming as those consumption habits have changed.
For sure. And how, as a professional or an entrepreneur in this space, how do you continue to identify which platforms you want to move into versus ones you are hesitant until you may see success? How do you decide where to kind of go all in as these new platforms come up?
Yeah, mainly it's just been on our like strengths and kind of abilities. So like long form video is relatively easy to produce for us. So we have done long form video. Podcasts are easy. So I started it again, even though I didn't want the responsibility of it. Just started recording conversations because it's too much fun. So started that again. And that's super easy for us. I don't know. I'm not a TikTok person, or like short form isn't my strength. I don't think like that, unfortunately, for like organic content. So haven't like dove into that fully. Like we do it, but not like that's not the focus.
Yeah.
I don't know. So honestly, it's been a little bit of like, what are the skills that we have as a team, and like
Yeah.
what.
Well, and I think it's interesting because the space that you guys play in terms of the instruction space, long form also just plays much better in that, right? If people are investing their time to learn about something, it's better over time than just these quick snippets, I think.
Yeah. No, for sure. And honestly, I think it's one of the biggest challenges, is like the challenge that we're trying to tackle is like, how do we make golf instruction, golf performance content, like educational and entertaining at the same time? Because, it's hard to keep someone's attention and like keep things entertaining and interesting. So we really try to balance of like, all right, we're going to go share something that's really cool and we find really fascinating, and try to do it in a way that keeps you wanting to watch and like keeping you there.
Yeah.
And so that is like, we focus a ton on pre-production, like the planning that goes into doing this. There's a lot of like thought around that to try to keep things moving. The planning, the prep, super important, probably more than anything else.
And how integrated is your guest in those pre-planning meetings and process?
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit. Like it'll start with kind of like an intro call. I'll go back, kind of come up with some sketches of ideas, go back, get them approved, and then we'll dial in there from detail, like everything.
Yeah.
So we try to have as much figured out as possible going into stuff.
So as you think of GolfWell today, do you guys consider, is it a media company? Is it a community? How do you position it within the golf space?
Yeah, just a media company, honestly, of like, we're trying to make interesting stuff, tell interesting stories, and help people. So right now that looks like, long form video, podcasts, and we're trying to make stuff that are around that mission of like sharing the best insights from really cool, whether it's players, coaches, researchers, share those with everyone and put it in a way that everyone can consume. That's kind of the big goal.
Yeah, and I think most media companies would agree that you're always fighting for attention, right? And in the golf space, how do you guys try to stand out amongst the other content that's being served up?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is hard. Like the best way that I've figured out is just like follow kind of my curiosity of like, what am I interested in? And all I have is kind of my lens right now. Right. Yeah. So like, I'm going to take my kind of viewpoint and go try to figure something out around that. And I think it's probably unique from a lot of other voices, just with my experience and kind of like the conversations I've had and stuff I've learned over the years. So I try to bring that to the table and think about that. Really, it's just like trying to chase down what interests me. And like, I think there are other people that will find the same thing interesting.
For sure. So going back to the COVID timeframe, when the science lab kind of started to sunset and you started to think about building back GolfWell or building GolfWell, did you take time off from golf itself, or just kind of the professional side of the sport?
No, yeah, I always have played. That never really stopped, but yeah, it was just stop making content around it, really.
So what brought you back? Was it missing it?
It's just too much fun.
Yeah.
Like it's just really, really fun to do this stuff, to be able to like go hang out with these people, tell these stories, like the trips it takes you on, the people you get to meet and talk to. And then also like the emails and chats and conversations I get from people that watch. Like honestly, it's kind of that whole thing it's like, this is too cool not to be doing it. And I just enjoy it so much. And so, yeah, that's what kind of brought it back, was just that was the reason.
And it's interesting because you talked about, your 7-year-old playing golf and getting into the sport. Do they watch what you do on the professional side of things? And are they able to understand that you're balancing business and pleasure in a way that most people would aspire to do in their lives?
My kids like the Brian Bros and Grant Horvat. So they're not really too interested in the stuff that I'm making.
Well, it's less about, I think my question was more less about like what you're making, but that you're kind of working on something you're passionate about, and that there's something important in that lesson, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was having a chat with the oldest in the car today, kind of about that. And he was asking kind of what I was working on and stuff and why I did it. And so Yeah, I think for sure I don't know how old, if you have kids or how old they are,
Yeah.
but like it seems like the 7-year-old's kind of starting to ask those questions, which is kind of fun to get to talk to them about, what I do and all that stuff.
Yeah, I have a 13 and 11-year-old, and in my previous life, I was an entrepreneur in the toy space, and my kids were around that age, and it was fun to have them interact with what you're doing, and they could, they certainly see the passion that we have to try to build something. So as you thought about building GolfWell, just talk a little bit about the name change, why, introduce something else as opposed to bringing back Golf Science Lab.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, as you can tell, this is pretty like a personal thing of like,
Yeah.
I do it because this is like, I'm chasing down what I think is interesting and trying to tell these stories. And I didn't like it anymore. It wasn't all science. There wasn't a lab. Like, I just wanted to make something that I resonated with more. So honestly, that was it. It was just like, I was just like, didn't resonate with it. Felt like it was weird. Just those normal self-doubts that everybody has about, anything they're trying to do. So yeah, we changed the name. I don't know if it was a good idea or not. Things were going just fine under Golf Science Lab, and it's not like they've gone any better or anything since changing the name. So I don't know if it was a good decision or not, but it was a decision and it was made.
Yeah. No,
We did a thing.
And back then, because I know you have the newsletter, it was the same concept of the business. Just name change, and
I just wanted to change the name because I felt better about it.
Yeah.
Self-conscious.
So no, that's fine. That's fair. Appreciate the honesty. As we think about the media space and capturing audience attention, we also think about growth. And as you think about growing the audience, what are some ways you think about building GolfWell from that perspective?
Yeah, really interesting question. And this has changed the most probably over my career, making content in the golf space. Now, like the organic YouTube is crazy. Like there was nothing like this before. Like you couldn't organically get people to watch your stuff. And so now it's awesome to be able to have that. Can it be frustrating that, views go up and down? Yes. Yeah. Do we get frustrated? Yes. Are we in a dip right now of our content we've been making? Yes. No. So like that is a huge growth is just like I said, we're trying to make the best long form we can. We think we're decent at it. We have an ability to do it. So we're trying to do that and see organic growth there, which has been awesome. We're also trying to convert that into email newsletter subscribers, which we've learned to become pretty decent at. So that's growing at a good clip and is super important to stay in touch with people. And it's just a fun medium to send stuff out on a weekly basis. It's kind of like a notebook or a journal of just kind of interesting things and ideas. So that is kind of the two main things. Honestly, it's a good question because I haven't thought too much about growth just because we don't sell anything or have like a paid product or anything. We don't do any paid. We don't do anything like that. It's mainly looking at the organic growth off the content. So
I imagine you look at growth in two ways, right? The amount of people that are watching the content, and then the amount of people that subscribe to the newsletter.
Yeah. I mean, the newsletter is a huge indication of like if people are staying in tune or liking it, like if they're willing to take that step.
Yeah.
And then, obviously we're looking at the quality of the content and if people are watching it or not. That's a massive indicator.
Yeah. Do you guys view, as I take a step back and look at your business, and from my perspective, which is an outsider's point of view, you view kind of two types of audiences you're serving. One, the instructors, the coaches, the pros, people on the professional side, and then amateurs who are interested in improving their game. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it has shifted over the years. It used to be a lot more instructors, but now it's probably 70-30, 80-20, probably just golfers. I mean, the majority of people that listen and watch are 10 to 15 handicaps.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably 80-20 or something like that. So what I've found is that most instructors and like are avid golfers. And so like there's a lot of overlap in the content. So it's like if it's good for one person, it's probably going to be good for the other.
I assume that there's also small community within instructors. Associating yourselves to that community to make it not easy, but easier to get guests and get instructors and coaches on to be part of the platform.
Yeah, I think just like I've spent 10 years kind of in the instruction community.
Yeah.
knowing folks. That's the main thing. And then, yeah, definitely kind of staying in tune with all kinds of folks. Instruction is helpful as well. So I do know quite a few folks around.
You talked about how on the avid golfer side of things that the content serves, really well for a 10 to 15 handicap. Talk a little bit as to why and how you can bring, folks at me that are above 20, but want to improve their game and become better golfers into the GolfWell community.
Yeah. Why does it serve that level?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think actually the content serves any particular skill level. It's more about mindset, probably, of like, hey, if you want to learn and get better, it's, great. We've got a great resource can help you with that. Yeah. A lot of it does apply to most skill levels, to be honest with you. And I think just the majority maybe of like avid golfers consuming this content on YouTube and social are in that
range. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The next question, like how to help someone like you kind of get like, where do you start? Gosh, I don't know. That's a good question. Probably need to spell out some steps or something like that. I like that.
There may be a content stream where if you're 22 or 23, follow this track. It's like a workout routine, right? You want to lose 20 pounds, do this. If you want to lose 10 strokes, do that.
I like it. I can make a special playlist for you.
There you go.
Here are the 5 videos to watch and go do.
I love it.
How about that?
Yeah, please do. As you think about GolfWell today and GolfWell in the future, where are you trying to take the brand?
Where are we trying to take the brand? These are good. I'm going to transcribe this and turn this into a kind of figuring out questions here. Where are we trying to take the brand? Honestly, just on the same path it is right now. I'm just going to keep chasing down interesting like stories that I think are interesting and just slowly growing. That's pretty much it. There's not a master strategy. We have some products that are kind of in production. Kind of idea is we'll continue to grow. The goal is to make great tools and resources for people. So obviously there are some things besides just video and email that can help with that. So working on a few things there. Like the main thing is we're looking to create like a guidebook. So we've taken old videos and stuff, taking these things that are hard to remember off a YouTube video and turn it into like a physical, like just book that you can throw in your bag or throw somewhere and like, oh yeah, I remember that, but I don't really remember it. So you like can look at it. So we're working on that, which is kind of the next project with hopefully we'd roll out continuously.
That's awesome.
As well. So yeah, I mean, that's no big plans. Gosh, maybe we should.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, I think the book is a great idea. Part of the range and what I hope to do in this podcast or video is to give other entrepreneurs a sense of how to help create something. And so if you don't mind, it'd be super helpful to kind of walk through, even at the highest level, how you go about thinking of ideas, pitching them to an instructor, or working with an instructor to come up with those ideas to then translate that into a video, and talk a little bit about the steps that it takes, as well as the timing of all of that.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So like kind of our content comes from 2 ways. One would be like, here's a person that we want to work with and like do some content with, or here's a problem or like issue that we're going to solve. So, for instance, I'm trying to think back here. Recently, or like one of our most popular series from last year was we went and worked with Mark Blackburn. He's, a phenomenal coach. He's ranked number 1 right now, and obviously a really cool opportunity. So what are the most interesting stories we could tell with him? And we told a ton, but the one that I'm most proud of is the teaching tactics. We did this video about the teaching tactics that he uses. And I just thought it was such a cool opportunity to document like what the number 1 coach, and that was the summer of last year, like what was he doing at that time in coaching? And so that'll be a reference point, honestly, for years to come, maybe 10 years from now, to go look at like how coaching has evolved over years. And I was just really, really pumped about like that story was really fun to come up with that idea of teaching tactics. So it can come from that way.
Okay.
The other way is like, hey, here is a question, or here's a problem. Help me.
Yeah.
So I did a whole series of this last year. So the road to 180 was I was trying to hit 180 ball speed. And so everywhere I went, I would just ask the person like, how can I get to 180 ball speed? Whether it be a lesson. We also did that with Mark Blackburn as well, and a bunch of other people last year. So it's can work from both directions of like, were you going to craft an idea based on the person or craft an idea based on the problem or the question that we want to solve.
Before you continue, those questions, can they also come from the community?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Comments are a great place to come up with ideas from. Love that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So then you have the kind of idea that is germinated. How do you then bring it to life?
Yeah. I mean, from there, it's kind of like creating a whole pre-production plan of, writing the outline, creating titles, thumbnails, what's the tone of it. We'll come up with a couple ideas for intros, maybe potentially a shot list. Kind of like all that work happens next of just writing everything down, creating everything so we can come in with a bit of a plan beforehand.
Yeah. And then move to production and
move to production and then into post after.
Yeah. What does post look like typically?
Yeah. I mean, post, like each video, I don't know, it's probably 30, 40 hours. We'll do like a content cut of just like the content. We'll look for areas that we can either remove or things we need to add or clarify. Go from there. Then we'll start adding in more of the either it's graphic elements to help or B-roll elements and kind of keep working. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work making these things.
Yeah.
We've got, it's a lot of work. I have a really great team.
Yeah.
I am not responsible for most of this. So I just like, they do a great job and we've really like improved, I think, things a lot over the last 2 years. So I'm pretty pumped about it.
Going back to early on, assuming you had to wear more of the hat, so to speak, did you come from a production background or is it just something that you picked up as you continued to build?
Yeah, a bit of both. I mean, yeah, if you go back, it was doing everything of shooting, all the steps, shooting, editing, everything. If you go back, 5 years or so, or more than that. So yeah, kind of learned on the go. It would be, I would probably say that.
And as you think about where you are today and how you started prior to Golf Science Lab with the software company, as someone who seems to like to build stuff and create, do you ever think back on that software idea could work or another software idea? Are you always thinking of new ideas outside of GolfWell? Obviously you have an agency, but are you one of those entrepreneurs that are just constantly thinking of the next thing, or is it the next thing for GolfWell?
A good question. I'm always thinking about it. The software the scheduling software was a good idea because it was focused around retention of like who you haven't seen regularly and like making follow-up and communication simple. Still a great idea. I still like it. I still don't know if anyone's done it that well. So anyways, no, but yeah. And honestly, it's a skill that I was just thinking about the other day of like, oh man, the habit of writing down ideas is just super important, I think, in exercising that muscle and putting things down on paper and written down versus just thinking about stuff. And so it's kind of come and gone over my career, but I've always, tried to write down like, all right, here are 10 ideas around this topic. Here are 10 ideas around this problem. And then like tried to keep that muscle, doing. So I think like everyone should do that. I think, especially now with all of our chats and Claudes and stuff and how easy it is to generate ideas, that I think having your own idea muscle is even more important because our style and curation is going to be more important than ever going forward. So I'm really bullish on good ideas. And like your ability to generate that and have an opinion and have taste. So that is something that I just reminded myself of this. Honestly, like last week, I was thinking about how I just need to get back in that habit again of writing that down and putting it down on paper.
I agree wholeheartedly that it's a muscle worth keeping up and building. And even if you never work on any of those ideas, I think it helps in your day to day. So spot on. As we transition a little bit, I want to talk about the evolution of golf. We mentioned it previously. Talk a little bit about even just the mindset of the conventional golfer and relying on content like yours to get better. How has that helped GolfWell grow or become easier to continue to push out content to service those types of golfers?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is the answer the question is looking for, but here's my thought on it is I think that to get better golf, you would either see a local pro or read a book. That was kind of your two paths. And yeah, books could definitely help. You'd see a lot of perspective, but I think like it's so cool now that not only can I go see a coach, but I can also get other perspectives of like hey, maybe there is, if I am really serious about this, I want to get better, you should have a coach. Maybe your local coach. I mean, not every player goes with every coach, right? It's just like, it's a fact. So you get exposed to different ideas and you learn about some stuff that maybe you didn't, and you're able to figure out like, oh, this is a path I should look into and kind of chase stuff down. So I think like I'm just super grateful for all the people that have chosen to share with me and like spend time and like share their stuff. Cause again, it's like all their decades of wisdom. And so there's so many people that have taken time to do that. And it's just really cool that people are so open and that everybody can learn and then either take that on themselves or say, hey, I learned this to a coach. Like, what do you think about this? How would we work on this, together, and kind of like bring those ideas to light. So I don't know if that's where we're going, but that's maybe my thought on that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. As you think about the content space within golf, it doesn't have to be a direct competitor to you, but do you view any content creators or media companies in the golf space that you aspire to not do what they're doing, but like they've built something that you aspire to or look at as inspiration to kind of keep you going with GolfWell?
Yeah. Well, I think like the guidebook idea that we're working on is I've been a Golfer's Journal subscriber since day one.
Yeah.
And I love, having physical products to like, have around. So that was one thing. Like they do just phenomenal work. It's like, how could we bring some of that into the golf performance space? It's like, this is an attempt to kind of keep the knowledge that people have shared on the videos alive and keep it going potentially with some of these books. So like that they're definitely, I mean, it's just so great. I think everybody that subscribes probably looks forward to that quarterly envelope coming in the mail.
Yeah.
And kind of is always excited to dive into it. So they're just like, have done such good work in the space.
There's something I think still magical, not to sound super cheesy, but how holding a well-produced physical item, that just beautiful imagery, high quality. So could we see a GolfWell Golfer's Journal collab in the future?
I don't know if they ever want to do anything instruction wise, I can facilitate. That'd be a blast.
There you go. As we kind of move towards the end of the conversation, as you think back, you mentioned doubling down, earlier on. What are some other things that you look back and you say we could have done things differently, or would have done things differently if you knew what you knew today?
If I knew it, I need to say what we've done differently. I don't know. I'm pretty I'm grateful for where things have shaken out with all this. Like honestly, it's really cool to get to do a lot of this. I would say, like, I'm really grateful that I've always had an email list all through the years. Like that's been really helpful to just like stay in touch with people and get updates out. That's been huge. So that's something that I would always recommend doing, no matter how big or small or wherever you're at.
Did you keep up with that email list during COVID when you No. Yeah.
No, I don't think I got an email probably for like, a couple of years or something like that.
Yeah. So to that point, when you introduced GolfWell, what was that first email like to the community?
So I had been doing some emails for a while, so they were kind of used to it, but I went with a classic, like, I quit, I think, kind of email when we announced that launch.
Yeah.
Really leaned in. It's the one opportunity we got to, make an I quit video and send out an email like that. So leaned into it. Yeah. Didn't lean away from the potential clickbait spam. Went for it because, hey, you only get to do it once. Sounds fun. Why not try it out?
Absolutely. Last question before we move on to a lightning round of questions, just to give the audience a sense of you outside of GolfWell. This is a golf and business podcast. As you think about your day-to-day operations as an entrepreneur and businessman, and then you think about kind of your experience as a golfer, what are some similarities that you find between golf and entrepreneurship, or golf and business?
Good question. Just like frustrating, slow progress, lack of progress, all the same things. Like it does relate. My golf game this year, I'm shooting higher scores in tournaments than last year. I spent my entire winter trying to train and work out. So that's good. Sometimes it feels like that, like with what we're doing. Like we've spent more time and energy on all of our content lately, and it's performing worse than before. So like there's similarities. Look at this. It's just crossing over. It's a great question. See, it was like the answer's right there, unfortunately.
Well, let's talk about a positive angle. Like what are some positive things that you find with the golf sport and business?
Positive things with golf. The negative was easy. I like that one. That one was simple. What comes to off the top of the head? Honestly, like I do think about this a lot, but I get to work with like just awesome people here, and every day is a privilege that we laugh a ton and just have a ridiculous time most of the time. And I have been lucky enough that I'm like that in work a lot, and it's often like that on the golf course as well, right? So that's definitely a kind of a similarity, which is fun, and it's something to be grateful for
that's
sure.
Awesome.
Of creating those.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's a camaraderie around both business and golf that's special. Last question before we jump into the rapid fire round. What is your handicap?
I think it's like a 1. I've just been getting notifications. It's been actively going up lately, so I'm excited about that. Can you tell a theme of the moment?
Yeah. Caught you in a good time.
Yeah, we're 1 right now.
There you go. All right. Well, Cordie, I appreciate the time. Just a handful of questions to give the audience a peek behind the curtain, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
Favorite golf course you've ever played on?
Gosh, I don't know. This is a hard one. Probably Bandon Dunes.
Nice. What'd you shoot? Do you remember?
This last year, do a trip in December with a great group of guys, Coach Will Robbins, who I've known forever. And it's just awesome. He takes a bunch of guys up there. And this last year we go in December, and we had just like a sunset, like 2 sunsets. They were just perfect, and it was unbelievable. So
that's awesome.
That definitely, that kind of moment, I think it's about like the course and the moment at the same time kind of coming together,
Totally.
So that kind of pops to mind.
Awesome. Favorite drink and snack while playing?
Oh boy, drink? I've been doing a lot of just liquid IVs this summer, I think. It's so hot and humid in Minnesota. We got to figure out how to stay alive out here. And then snack, just a Cliff Bar. How about that?
Yeah. All right. Healthy. Yeah. Dream golf collab for GolfWell.
Dream golf collab. This is a good question. I love the Speed Series is so fun. So would love to just continue down the Speed Series. Obviously, doing an episode with Bryson on the Speed Series would be up there. I'm on the road to 190, so we continue to have a bunch of fun episodes planned around that. But that would probably be a winner to be able to do that.
For sure. And then last question, what's the most surprising lesson golf has taught you about building your business?
Surprising lesson golf has taught me about building a business. I would say so. I really like Dr. Greg Carton takes kind of a mindfulness approach towards sport performance. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of those lessons of trying to stay present, the idea that like even pros have a lot of the same thoughts that we do of like, I might miss this putt, hit it out of bounds. Like they are also thinking that. Yeah. And most of us probably grew up or believed that there was some difference that they had, but it's not. And I think it's kind of the same way in business of like, it's focusing on being here, being now, focusing on like, here's what I'm doing now. Here's what I'm doing next. This is what we're doing. A lot of negative thoughts will come and go, and we can just kind of watch them pass by.
Love that. We're going to end on that. Cordie, give the audience a chance to find you on social and of course website. Yeah,
come hang out with me on the newsletter. Send out something every week on Thursday mornings. GolfWell.co is where you can find it. I had to like double check there. I had to think that one through. At GolfWell.co, it's just right at the top there. And then YouTube, just search Cordie, Cordie, or GolfWell. You'll find it. And same on Instagram. Those are probably the spots to follow along. Would be great to have you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, Cordie, and look forward to continuing to subscribe to GolfWell and see what the future holds.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.